So I'm going to share my slide and we'll take it forward from there. So uh, we this is going to be a series of sessions uh, which are the precursor to understanding uh, the non-dual philosophies. Okay, the non-dual philosophies include Advaita Vedanta. Okay, so I'll just repeat. Nitin is just here. So, whatever we do starting today is a precursor to understanding the non dual philosophies. The non dual philosophies are the two prominent names amongst non dual philosophies is Advaita Vedanta and Kashmir Shaivism. Okay, so you may have nothing to do directly with these names, you may not want to be involved with the philosophy side of it, but some of you may be interested. So I mentioned these two primary schools. There are other schools also, but these are the two more prominent schools and two of the most powerful schools of non-duality. Okay. Uh, and this is the non-duality amongst Hindus. Obviously, Vajrayan Buddhism again is non-dual. Buddhism itself is non-dual. Jainism is purely dual. Jainism is like Sankhya, which is dual. Yeah. So anyway, this is more of a theoretical thing. It's good to know the theoretical base always. It's good to know what you are studying. So what we do starting today is we understand our true nature in terms of our multiple bodies. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen, and as I move on, you can see the change, right? You can see purpose of session, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So these are the various purposes of today's session. You get to know who you are. You know you are more than the body. You know what you are not. You can be detached from what you are not. You can operate from what you are. You will understand in which bodies karma busting happens or purification happens. And you will understand, you will get a hope and possibility of your glorious future. And you will understand science behind the formation of the world, or what can also be called the view that is in front of you, that is the world. Okay. So these are the various purposes of this opening session. I don't know if I'll complete this today itself. I may not, we'll see. Okay. But this is the spiritual topic number one. Now, I'm directly jumping into the topic. See, each of us has these 7 aspects to our personality. Okay. The first is Adi, the Adi plane. Then there is the Anupadik plane, which is also called monadic plane. Then there is the Atmic plane, Bauddhic plane, mental plane, astral plane, physical plane. Why is this a combination of Sanskrit and English words? Because this is how theosophy and anthroposophy basically have their structure. They picked up few things from the west and they picked up a few things from the east. So that is why their terminology is a mix of English and Sanskrit. Madam Blavatsky from theosophy was channeling a higher entity, and she was perhaps channeling some entity called the Chauhans. Two of the Chauhans, I forget their name. She was channeling and she brought that information down, and then Steiner was channeling God himself, not a particular entity. He could channel God himself. So, whatever came across in their teachings, the body of work that they put together is a combination of English and Sanskrit. Now, I'm going to explain to you what each of these body is. Okay. So now this is not to scale, but to whatever extent you can, you may not be able to read it fully. I'll assist you. So this is your physical body. Okay, this is very, very important to get because based on this session, everything else depends. Your physical body, it's also called your Annamaya Kosh, in Hinduism. So when you extend your hands, okay, then within before the extension of your hands, just some half an inch around your physical body is your etheric body. That can also be called your pranic body. Just half an inch around your body is the etheric body. Okay, etheric body is not the aura. Aura is something else. We'll come to that. So the etheric body is exactly half an inch, which is 1 to 2 centimeters around your physical body. That is your pranamaya kosha, also called the pranic body or the vital sheath. Yeah, all your chakras are located on the etheric body. Okay, we will come to an expansion of each of the bodies later. Then, when you go beyond in your astral body, now your astral body is yet outer. Okay, it is beyond your etheric body, and it is projected almost up, little before your elbow. 30 centimeters from the center of your body on the outer side. That is this entire circle around you, which is a 30-centimeter circle around you, let us say, or a capsule, a 30-centimeter capsule around you is your astral body, also called your emotional body. Okay. Now, 15 centimeter beyond that is your mental body. It goes all the way to your elbow. So, if you build a capsule around you, which is almost the size from the center of your body up, from the navel up to the elbows, you build that capsule around you. That is your emotional body. Okay, it's very important to know all this. In our entire life, nobody must have taught you that where do your energies lie, where do your emotions lie, where do your thoughts lie. Now, 15 centimeters beyond that, okay, is so actually astral body is a little before the elbow, and up to the elbow is your mental body. The 15 centimeters beyond the astral body. So a little before the elbow you stop, that is the astral body, and then until the elbow is the mental body. From the elbow to the base of your fingers, that entire large patch, that is your intuition. That's where your intuition comes from. That is your bautic body. Okay, and then 10 centimeters beyond that, okay, which is until the tip of your fingers, is your atma, your atmic body. What you call your atma is there. So from the base of your fingers to the top of your fingers, top of your middle finger, let us say, that entire patch, if you extend your hands, that entire patch is what your atma is. Your atma is right at the periphery. And then touching your fingers are two bodies which are actually called Anupadik and Adi. They are touching your fingers. They are not a part of your physical body. They are beyond your physical body. Okay. Now I'll explain each body in more detail now that the architecture has been more or less clear. Any doubts? No. Okay. So we'll come back to this slide whenever required. Okay. So your first body is the Adi, and it is called the first cause, which you call the creator or the father. So this is not a part of your body actually. This is the Parameshwar himself. This is God himself, and this is where the origination happens from. You can alternately call it the light or the flame. Okay. In Tamil, you say Arupperum Jyoti. That Jyoti, is this Adi, that the Father, the Creator Himself. Okay, the Creator of Hindus, the Father of Christians, the light of all students of Swami Ramalingam, or the flame or the first cause, whatever you call it, God Himself. This is where it begins from. This is not your personal self. Okay. Then there is the monad. This is your personal self coming in. Okay. Within that large flame, there is a spark, and there are various sparks. Now these sparks they are separated by a very rare film. Okay, that film of separation is very, very rare. It is as good as nobody. Anupadik, the word anupadik means no, without vest, without clothing, you know. So it's a very rare film which separates. So at the level of your monad, you are separated from every other person. Nitin here is different from Nihar here, Ranjita here, Raju here. Why? Because each of them is a separate monad, each of them is a separate spark within the flame. This spark can alternately be called Jivatman or Purusha or Self. Okay. So these are the alternate names. And why is this spark created from the Father? So that it can be made perfect like the Father through suffering. Like the Father Himself, like Adi, like God, like light itself, you are created separately as a monad so that you can begin your journey and be made perfect through suffering. That is the truth of this story, even if it is appears like an unfortunate truth. Okay, there are 60 billion different human souls, 60 billion different monads. Now, this monad is what you call Jivatman in Vedanta, or you call Purusha in Sankhya, or you call self in your regular self inquiry English non duality. No? Are we together till here? Yeah, okay. So we carry on with the human architecture. Next is your Atma. This is your spirit. Okay. So your monad was beyond your Atma also. Your Atma begins now. Most of us feel Atma is everything. It's not like that. Beyond the Atma is the monad, and beyond the monad is God, which we covered. So your Atmic body is your spirit. This is your Atma. And this is the place from where your will functions, your willpower or your desire to do things, your will, that which is behind the action, that desire for action, that capacity to act, that intention to act, that comes from the divine will. So that is the divine will, and all your higher actions come from the Atma. What are the higher actions typically? In Gujarati, we say jovu and janvu. In English, we'll say watching and knowing. These are higher actions. So Atma is only watching and knowing, that's it. And it's not even knowing in terms of words, okay? The knowing in terms of words will happen later in the mental body. The direct knowing, you look at something and that image appears in front of you. Suppose there is a book in front of you right now. Knowing that that book is there, even prior to using the word book, just knowing that something is out there, that knowing comes from the Atma. And watching, dispassionately watching without adding any colors, that this is a good book or a bad book, a useful book, useless book, whatever, without any adjectives. When you just watch and you just know its presence, that comes from the Atma. That is your divine will, your intention. Okay, that is your spirit. Okay, this is your, you can say this is like almost like the first body that is covered in Vedanta. It is called the Anandamay Kosh. You know, In Hindu philosophy, this is called the Anandamaya Kosh, the Atman. Okay, this is where actually your storehouse of entire karma is also here. I didn't mention, but the storehouse of all your karma is here. you know, and even your bliss is here. So it is extremely important to understand how this Atman is. What are the characteristics of this Atman? This Atman, first of all, is the third body. It's not the first body as most of us think. The first was Father God Himself. Then there was a spark within the fire. Those sparks, where each of them is called a monad, that is your Jivatman. And below that is your Atman. Below that is your spirit. So, for simplicity's sake, you can call this the first body. But technically speaking, this is the third body. From a theosophic standpoint, this is a third body. From a Vedantic standpoint, this is your first body. You can put it that way. Okay, or your second body if you call Jivatman your first body. So when you loosely use the word Atma, it stands for the Atmic body, which is the storehouse of all your karma, which is where bliss lies, which is where divine will operates from, and which does the two higher actions of watching and knowing. Are we together? Yeah. Okay. Now we move on to the next body. This is the body of intuition. You remember where was the body of intuition in your human body architecture when you stretch your hands? Where was the body of intuition?
Before it stops before the elbow?
No. It was from the base of your fingers to the top of
base
the
of the fingers.
Yeah.
They're coming from.
Yeah.
Wrist to elbow, right?
Sorry, it is from the elbow to the base of your fingers.
Elbow to wrist.
Yeah, that is the Bautic body. Okay, from the elbow to the base. The base of the finger to the top of the finger is your Atma. Okay, that capsule around you. Okay, from the base to the top of the fingers, that is the Atma. So you should know this. We just use these words without knowing the architecture. Remembering the architecture, why are we doing all this theory? We are doing all this theory so that you are far more conversant whenever a word is used in future. Because when we will move to hardcore non-duality, we will be talking about thoughts, feelings, activities, watching, knowing where does which come from. That we should be very clear. Where is the plane for that? Okay, so this is your Bauddhic body. Your Bauddhic body, by the way, resides on the Bauddhic plane. Have you ever heard the word that you are a multidimensional human being?
Yeah.
Okay. What does this mean, multidimensional? Multidimensional means that parts of you are on different dimensions. It's like the Inception movie, it's like the Matrix. Okay. You don't fully exist the way you think you exist. You don't fully exist on this physical world. Your physical body is on the physical world. Your energies are on the etheric plane. Your feelings are on the astral plane. Your thoughts are on the mental plane. Your intuition is on the Bauddhic plane. And your Atman is on the Atmic plane. And you as an entity monad is on the monadic plane. So you actually exist on multiple planes. Only your physical body is on this earth plane. Are we together? This is very important to understand. Okay.
Can you repeat that one? The last first thing.
Yeah, I'll repeat
the different planes. Yeah.
I'll show you. I'll show you the image and I'll repeat it. Okay. So on this image, you see the physical body. Only that is on the physical plane. There is an etheric body on this image. That is your vital sheath, your pranamaya kosh. That is on the etheric plane. That is not here. It is not here. That etheric plane is not visible with your naked eye. Even scientists have not been able to tap it. They have tapped the aura. At some point, I'll explain what is the aura through Kirlian photography. But otherwise, they have not tapped anything beyond the aura. They have not tapped the etheric plane yet. No? Then your feelings are on your emotional plane, your astral plane. They are not on this plane. Your feelings are on another plane. You are pulling them from that plane. on the physical earth. While you are operating, your physical body is connected to your feelings in the astral plane. You know? Your thoughts are on the mental plane, your intuition is on the bodhic plane, and your Atma is on the Atmic plane. That is why you are a multidimensional human being. If you were only on this plane, you would be a unidimensional human being. You know? And this you will have a very good realization when we discuss the journey after death. Because nobody should live his life without knowing what happens to you after death. See, if you want to have a good old age, you start putting together your retirement savings, right? So you look at your future and then you fashion your present in a way that your future is taken care of. How stupid it would be to live without knowing what's going to happen beyond death so that the phase beyond death is taken care of. If your phase beyond death you don't take care of while we are alive right now, you are really messing with your entire journey, and you have no idea how painful a price you may have to pay beyond your death. Isn't that stupid? If you live without putting together your retirement savings, or without doing enough seva, sometimes when you do a lot of seva, your retirement is taken care of, by the forces of the world. So either if you don't have a seva corpus or you don't have a money corpus, then your old age is, to that extent, it is affected. In the same way, if you have not lived correctly and if you don't know what's going to happen to you after death, it is absolutely stupid to be busy in just your business or just your family, or just your fun. Your life beyond your earth plane is not going to take care of itself by itself. It depends on what you do now. We'll come to that, okay? But to understand that, you need to have an understanding of all these bodies. That's why we're starting with the basic architecture. Are we together? Yeah? Okay. Akshay, is the recording on? I don't know if Akshay is actually there, but can you guys see the recording on? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on, Bhaavin.
Good. It's important to record this one. Okay. Okay. So I'll go back to the Atma Bauddhik. Okay. Now this is where your intuition is. Okay. When you stretch your hands, right, the capsule that generated between the base of your fingers to the top of your fingers, that's where your intuition is. It can also be called pure reason. Reason means rationality. Reason means logic. Okay. Intuition is pure logic. Regular logic is impure logic. Regular logic can be used in either ways. I once, there's one story I know of where there is a person in their family, somebody dies, and then the corpse is with another family. So that other family says that, well, I can command my price because whom else will they buy it from? And then uh, this family thinks that, well, we can command our low price because whom else will they sell? So logic can actually be, so there is an intermediary, and that intermediary has to be brought in, and that intermediary has to settle the two parties because both of them have correct logic, and they could have never bridged this. This is how human logic is. It is not pure, it is impure. It can work in either direction. Your intellect can work in any direction. It can either be viveka, which is discriminative intellect, or it can be kubuddhi, which is absolutely non-discriminative and absolutely negative intellect. So reason is never pure. What is pure is intuition. Intuition is also reason. It is a higher rationality. The correct word is, I will type it. Okay, let me not disturb the flow. It's supra rationality. It is supra rational. It is beyond rationality, intuition. And all your higher feelings, okay, like your love, your selfless love, that you have towards your partner, your parents, your child, your pets. That selfless love which you have, it's all in the bautic body. Your spiritual love is in the bautic body. It can't be in the feeling body. It can't be in a lower body. It can't be in your astral body. And your unity consciousness, at some level, that you are not different from others. That unity consciousness also lies in the bautic body, that you are one with everybody. That if you mess up with somebody, the karma comes back and then it haunts you. It bites, it comes back and it bites your own ass. So that unity consciousness, knowing that you are interconnected, you can't dupe anybody, you can't for no reason hurt anybody, you can't simply manipulate anybody. We are all interconnected, it all comes back. It's just like throwing that boomerang and it comes back. So that unity consciousness, at some level, this, that unity consciousness, that spiritual love, all the higher feelings, all these exist in the bauddhic body. Okay. Now these higher bodies which we are discussing, atmic, bauddhic, these bodies are by and large free. You know, there are no entanglements in this body. This is your, what you call your higher self. Okay. All across the internet, you will find the word higher self. It has become a very, very common word. Your higher nature. So your atmic body and your bauddhic body belong to your higher nature. Now the next is your mental body. Now this mental body is 7,000 billion times larger than your physical body. You have only one body, but you have so many thoughts. And thoughts travel. Suppose you think of the sun. You know how you are able to think of the sun? Your thought is already within that moment reached the sun and come back. That is why you could think of the sun. Thoughts are known to run at 15,756,000 kilometers per second. That is what Rishi Master B.N. Sadhuna once shared. Thoughts operate at this speed. So this mental body is 7,000 billion times larger than your physical body on the mental plane. Then your upper mental body is also called your causal body. It's also called your shining body. Okay, you must have heard this word causal. In Jainism, we have this very clearly. It is called Karan Sharira. Okay? The Karan Sharira, which is the base amongst your upper bodies. This is the base. This is where the causation is lying in a certain sense. A lot of karma is stored in the atmic body, but also in the upper mental body where causation is. That is the causal body. Your formless thoughts belong here. Okay, what is a formless thought? See, there is a triangle, let us say, but along with the triangle, there is a principle of triangularity. This principle of triangularity is a formless thought. All those formless concepts, they all reside in the upper mental body. They have nothing to do with your karmic entanglement. They are like the laws of the world. Circularity exists there, triangularity exists there, unity exists there, and all your higher thoughts, okay, thoughts where you are noble, thoughts where you want to do good for the people around you, all your higher thoughts come from your mental body. Okay, and your heaven world is in your mental body, is in your mental plane. It is predominantly in your upper mental and lower mental plane both. See, we very loosely use the word heaven. Okay, we have never understood what is heaven. Heaven is your mental plane. I'm going to come to this, but let me touch upon it right away. Every plane is further divided into 7 subplanes, and every subplane is further divided into 7 more subplanes. So within every plane there are 49 levels. So your heaven is on some of the levels of the mental plane. Okay. Now, one part of you is your monad, which is where your original separate identity we began with. But in every incarnation, another identity has to be taken on. Now the re-originating entity is a spark which comes from your upper mental plane. The re-originating entity. So you're dead and you are reborn. Now when you are reborn, it is actually a spark which came from the upper mental plane. So it covered the atmic body, the bauddhic body, on the higher side, it came with it from the upper mental plane, and then it takes on all your previous physical, it takes on a fresh physical body, but your previous etheric body, your previous feeling body, and your previous lower mental body. This fresh spark. Yes, Ranjita.
Bhaavin sir, this when you say we incarnate, is it not the monadic
Yeah,
body which is in
monadic, yeah.
incarnation?
But that is to begin with, that is to begin with, you incarnate. But after that, the upper bodies, so your atmic body, your bauddhic body, and your upper mental body, these three bodies, they just continue their own journey. So there is a spark which comes from your upper mental body, because that spark is cumulative of your upper mental, your bauddhic, and your atmic, which were originally formed from the monad. But at the time of reincarnation, the repetition can happen only through the spark from the upper mental body, because it takes care of all the previous bodies. Now, when this spark is reborn, it cannot be reborn with the old feeling body, the old thought body, or the old physical body. It will be reborn with a fresher version of all the three, and I will come to the explanation of that fresher version. Okay. Before that, I'll explain what is the lower mental body within the mental body. The lower mental body, see the top three planes, there are 7 subplanes. The top 3 planes are the higher subplanes. Then there is the central or neutral body, and then there are the bottom 3, also called the lower subplanes. Okay. These lower subplanes, the 3 lower subplanes is your lower mental body, which is the form bearing body, form bearing thoughts. So all those particularized thoughts that you have had, all those particularized thoughts that you are having, and all those particularized thoughts that you will carry on from one incarnation to another incarnation, and then also between incarnations, all those form bearing thoughts belong to your lower mental body. Okay. These are your lower thoughts. These are the thoughts which are centered around your sense of self or ego. All these thoughts are centered around what you consider. Nitin considers himself to be Nitin, so these are centered around Nitin's idea of Nitin. These are centered around Bhavin's idea of Bhavin. These are centered around Parth's idea of Parth. These are the lower thoughts. So these come from the lower mental body. Okay, so the mental body is divided into these 2 parts. Next is the astral body. Okay, I'm going to allow time for your questions. First, let me cover the entire architecture. So your astral body is your lower feelings. All these upper bodies and lower bodies, I'll show you again, I'll give you a fresh perspective. See, the second and the sixth are mirror images of each other. Sorry, the third and the fifth are mirror images of each other.
Atmic and mental?
Yeah, no, atmic and physical, See, actually, your physical body is pure. It is your thoughts. Leonard Orr used to teach, physical immortality. There are so many immortals because the physical body is pure. It is the energies, the thoughts, the feelings which corrupt the physical body. So your physical body is actually, because physical body is such a beautiful machine. Imagine what this level of a machine, can it ever be created by a human being or an AI or anything, So it is a replica of your atmic body, which is also pure. So atmic and physical are similar. Bauddhic and astral, they are again the mirror images like atmic and physical. Physical was a mirror image of atmic. Now this astral is a mirror image of bauddhic. Bauddhic was higher feelings, spiritual love, selfless love, unity consciousness, all the higher feelings and pure reason. But your feeling body, your astral body, is your lower feelings, the feelings that are around your sense of self. That what's going to happen to me, what's wrong with me, how exactly am I caught up, so all those lower feelings of anger, fear, grief, lust, prejudice, resentment, bitterness, rage, whatever you call it. All of that is lying in the inverse of the bauddhic body, is the astral body. Bauddhic was all pure feeling, this is all impure feelings, And within the mental only, the upper mental and the lower mental, which we covered, they are mirror images of each other. One is formless thoughts, higher thoughts, and other is form bearing thoughts, lower thoughts. Are you clear about these inversions? Yeah? Okay. So I'll touch upon the concept of light body also over here. You must have heard the word that I have spoken about this in the past. People getting themselves a light body, which is beyond enlightenment, So that light body is actually when your physical goes and meets the atmic, when your astral goes and meets the bauddhic, and your lower mental goes and meets the upper mental. So your lower three bodies, in the words of Sri Aurobindo, they get supramentalized. They are made higher, and all is left is only the higher bodies. Even the lower bodies have become like the higher bodies. That is when you get the light body. That is the concept of a light body. We very loosely say this person got a light body. Swami Ramalingam was the last one to get a light body in the recorded history of human beings. Or Jesus, after his crucifixion, was reborn with a light body 2 days later. So these lower bodies just go and they get sublimated into the higher bodies, and the lower bodies remain, but they are sublimated versions of these. They are not the lower versions as is currently the case. So now coming back, so we were at the feelings, the astral body. This is where all the gadbad happens. Okay, in my life, your life, everywhere. The lower body, the lower mental was a gadbad, but the gadbad at the level of feelings is a far powerful gadbad. So this is the body at the level of which all those problems exist. All our feelings, all the time they are swaying from here to there. This is the body at which, this is the level at which. Everything is going wrong. Now the three lower levels, I told you there are 7 subplanes. So now in the 7 subplanes, the 3 lower planes, they are called hell. Those 3 lower planes within, that is where all these dark entities live. Have you heard the word Lucifer? Yeah.
The fallen angel.
Right, the fallen angel. So all your fallen angels, all your dark entities, all your ghosts that you talk about, all the pretas that you talk about, all the asuras that you talk about, they all live in these 3 lower levels. The hell, the 3 lower levels of the astral body. So there are 7 sub levels, I told you. The bottom, the middle one is neutral, the upper 3 are a little higher levels, higher thoughts, a little better feelings, but the lower are the worst feelings. So this is what happens in shadow work, this is what happens in ascension, this is what happens in whenever you are worshipping any deity and then the deity takes over your life. They get you to travel through your lower levels and they get you to finish off all the karmic charge that is at the lower level. That is the entire process of awakening. What happens in awakening? A person becomes awake. That means a person becomes conscious of the shadow in him. All of a sudden he's faced with aspects that he finds so difficult to live with. So the lower 3 levels have been triggered. That is a good thing to happen. Either you are permanently living there, then you are doomed. I'll come to that in the phase beyond death. Okay, but if that is triggered so that it can be sublimated, then that is the spiritual process itself. You can't escape the dark night of the soul. That is the dark night of the soul, traveling through those lower 3 levels. So these lower 3 levels is what is hell. The lower 3 levels of the mental plane was heaven. And heaven is actually distributed across the mental plane, across the 7 levels. But the lower 3 levels is more technically heaven, and the lower 3 of astral is more technically hell. Now, when we say that you will go to hell, there are 2 types of hells. One is you living your negative feelings itself is hell. There is no hell outside, you can say in a certain way. You know, you being caught up in your negative feelings itself is hell. And second, after your death, you actually go and occupy these lower sublevels and you're caught over there, and it is unfortunately far more miserable, you know, those lower levels over there. So you don't want to be stuck on those lower levels. You don't want to be stuck in hell, you know. That is what I was discussing, the retirement savings for a better old age. So in the same way, you got to live your current life so that when you die, you do not go to these three lower levels. If you end up in these three lower levels, you should quickly exit those. Your the amount of matter and activity in your lower astral body should be so less that you can escape that hell within a matter of hours or a matter of days or a matter of weeks. You can't afford to be stuck there, like some entities will be stuck there for decades or centuries, you know. But you want to live in a way that you're not stuck there. This is one of the most crucial points of today's session, you know. Most of us spend our entire life without thinking of what happens to us after death. That is a very, very, very poor way of living, you know. What is the point of maximizing your present and screwing up your future? That's not how a human being lives. A human being has been given the discriminative intellect so that he can improve upon his future right through his current actions. You know, he can build a better future through his current actions. Are we together?
Yeah.
Yeah?
This is the law of karma, no, Bhaavin?
It is the law of karma, yes. In fact, this is the original law of attraction. Okay,
Correct.
so what you go, what kind of life you live here will decide which plane you will be placed on, and the kind of life that you will live between two lifetimes. You know, that is the law of attraction. That is the original law of attraction. You know, the plane where you vibrate while you are living here is the plane you are going to occupy between two lifetimes, you know. And you better occupy a better plane, otherwise it's unfortunately a far more miserable place than the earth plane, the lower astral planes, you know. You can think, because it is full of asuras, full of negative entities, full of ghosts, full of lucifers, you know, full of reptilians, whatever word you use, you know. So this is the importance of today's session. I had to build the entire theoretical framework, you know, to make you cognizant, you know, the entire architecture of your own life and your own multiple bodies, to make you cognizant of what is going to come now. Okay. Now your physical body. Okay, this is where you do your actions from. You can call these your lower actions, because most of our actions are rooted in our ego or the sense of self, and we are just trying to preserve it. And then the etheric body is not a separate body actually. It is, you can say, it is a covering of the physical body, the vital sheath, the pranamaya kosh. Okay, it is just a covering, and all your chakras exist on that. Okay, so this is your physical body. There's not much which needs to be explained for this. Physical body exists on this bhulok, physical plane. Okay, this can also be called the mrityu loka, jiva loka. The bhuloka, jiva loka, mrityu loka, all three lokas is the physical plane. And there actually are words in Sanskrit for your astral plane and your mental plane and all of that. You know, obviously there are koshas which are very famous. I will show you a chart later. Yes, Nitin.
But in a way, we're always living in past, present, and future at the same time.
So it depends on, when you say we, what do you mean by that?
Like your physical is your presence,
Okay.
and your past is from where you've come, like whichever other plane you are at, and your present status is determining where you'll be in your future.
Yeah.
So in a way, everything is happening at the same. Because yes, the other day I was something saying that you can alter your past, and I didn't understand. But now when you're saying this, you can possibly alter your past by a good present or a good future.
What I'm saying is you can alter your future
Yeah.
to correct actions in your present, as simple as that. Your past is past already. There isn't anything you can do about your past. You are actually reaping the fruits of your past right
Ah,
now.
But
But in this moment,
is it right to say that you're living in your present is basically how do I put it?
The fruit of your past.
So yeah, so you're basically living in the present because of your past. So you're living three different sort of states of mind.
yeah. So you are in this moment, whatever you are facing is the result
Mm,
of your past. So in that sense, you are
mm,
living your past. You're obviously living in the present, and then whatever you're doing now is going to impact your future. So in that sense, you're living your future also right now. So to that
mm.
extent, I agree with you. You know.
So if you don't believe in, say, heaven and hell, which is a concept which you cannot believe, then you're only living in your present.
No,
If you don't
so
believe in life after death, then you're only living in your present,
okay, that's what you mean.
which
Okay,
is the ignorance.
right. Everybody is actually only living in the present, just
Mm.
that some people are living in the present in a way that they are mindful of their future.
Future, right? Huh.
That's yeah. So that's a higher living in the present, and
So
there
when
is
you're
a
only living
lower.
in your present,
You can
it's
just be like an animal who has no
yeah.
idea of their future lives, who has
Mm.
absolutely no idea. So besides a few rare animals, the one who was with Gyaneshwar, or there was this cow and a monkey with Raman Maharshi who would enter Nirvikalp Samadhi. Besides those very, very, very rare animals, that animals by nature are not living because they have a horizontal spine. If you have a horizontal spine, you cannot create your future through your present. In order to create your future through your present, you got to have a vertical spine. you know you also, when you are sleeping, actually are not able to create your future, right? You are just living your past. When you are asleep, you are just living your past, actually. you know Only when you make your spine horizontal, then you can think and act and do things about your future. So you're living. So the vertical vertebrae is extremely important. Everything, that is what changes us. That is what discriminates us from everybody else. So if we are living an animal kind life, if we are living like a horizontal vertebrae kind of life, which doesn't incorporate the future in its present living, you know
Mm.
then it is a very stupid animalistic life. You are just like last time we discussed something opposite so as to bring the balance. But what I'm telling you today is that you don't want to be a, what Vivekananda used to say, it's better to be a dissatisfied Socrates than a satisfied pig.
Hmm.
you know a satisfied pig is just a satisfied pig, is just eating the muck and wallowing in the same muck and enjoying it and done with it. Rather, a Socrates who questions and gets poisoned is a better life. So the whole idea is that the physical plane you are very largely aware of, but all these other planes of your architecture you were not aware of. You didn't know about your other bodies until now. You didn't know about the other planes. You didn't know technically what is hell. You didn't know what is technically heaven. Are we together? You agree with this? Yes.
Makes you so conscious about everything you're doing now.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is the whole purpose. Now there are sub-levels and subdivisions. Every plane has 7 sub-levels. Okay, I don't know about the physical plane, frankly, but all these other planes, they have 7 sub-levels. And oh yeah, the physical plane also has 7 sub-levels: solid, liquid, gas, ether, sub-ether, atom, and subatom. So all the planes actually have their own sub-levels, 7 sub-levels, and 7 subdivisions within those sub-levels. So like 49 rungs of the ladder. If you go from here from physical to Adi, as you can see in this image, from physical to Adi, between every two there are 49 rungs. Between every two. That is how. Or to simplify, there are 7 rungs. Only 7 subplanes. Bottom 3 subplanes of astral are hell, Top three subplanes of mental are heaven. Now, depending on how you live your life, you will end up either in the bottom three or in one of the astrals or one of the mentals or directly bauddhik, atmik, unapadik, you know. Now, coming back, now where do evolved beings live? Okay, so let us say Sage Ramana goes from here. He will go and he will directly live, okay, at either the bauddhic plane, either the upper mental plane or the bauddhic plane or the atmic plane or the anupadik or adi. Okay, I personally know that Sage Ramana himself lives in anupadik and beyond. He doesn't have to live at atmic or bauddhic. You know, he is such a huge, because he was just a reincarnation of Kartikeya. You know, yes, Ranjita.
Bhaavin sir, there, that cancer, where he was witnessing the cancer,
Yeah,
um, did he take it on for one of his followers, or was
from
it
multiple. That is a standard law that the karma gets drained from the disciple to the guru. You know? There is a law. So, for which kind of disciples? For the disciples who themselves took it on from others. They will not do it for every disciple, and it will not. It's an automatic thing which happens. So there would be many disciples who would themselves have taken on the karmas of others, and then these higher gurus take on the karmas of those disciples. Otherwise, nobody should take on somebody else's responsibility. You know, but the guru can take on responsibility if the shishya has taken on somebody's responsibility. You know, then the
because
shishya is eligible. Yeah,
at one point he was witnessing his arm, right? Even when they were doing
all the
surgery,
time,
he was
all the
not
time,
participating in it.
all the
He was
time.
just witnessing it.
Right. He
So
even did. He refused anesthesia also.
correct, correct.
Yes. Yes.
And even the surgery he had to be forced to have.
Correct.
So was he removed, like Ramana, the entity, was he removed from was Bhagavan removed from his physical body? And was he
Absolutely.
observing his physical body
Absolutely.
from one of these planes?
Absolutely. So he would be just stationed in his atmic plane, and from his
Okay.
atmic plane, he would the physical body. So the saying is that he would have lots of pain but no suffering. You know,
Mhm.
so the pain would happen because it is a physical body. You know, but he wouldn't suffer simply because he is stationed. His individual life force is stationed in the atmic body. That is a better way to put it. Because when I say he is stationed, what does it mean? A big body. So you can, the best way to put it is his individual life force was stationed in the atmic body, from where he can simply witness without identifying with the physical body. That is how all the sages are. You know, even Sri Aurobindo had a surgery performed without anesthesia. So many of them get surgeries performed because they are able to consciously disidentify from their lower bodies and station themselves in their higher bodies. That itself proves that higher bodies exist. You know, in our life, we may just not have that much of a direct proof that our higher bodies exist. There is, but in their case, there is a far greater proof because they can get operated without anesthesia. That shows us that they just moved their dwelling to the higher body. The life force has just gone and occupied the higher body instead of occupying the lower bodies.
So is that how they know that they are going to leave Bhavan? Like they seem to know when they are going to leave the physical world.
So that they have three options. They Once you are a higher soul, you know, you four options actually. Either you can just live like another human being, which is through death, or you can live through jiva samadhi, okay, or you can have physical immortality and not go only until pralaya, you know, only from pralaya to pralaya you can live, you know, or you can have a light body wherein you have a body which others can see, but you know it is like they can't almost touch, you know, it's a light body. So these are the four exits that are possible for higher souls. So they are, but they decide their exit depending on uh, their own spiritual growth and depending on what their body can take at that age, you know, at their age, their body cannot take conversion into a light body. Then they choose a humbler exit called Jiva Samadhi. So that is how all the exits are. So anyway, coming back now to one sec. Yeah. So the evolved beings, their residence is in one of the higher planes. So when they go, they just directly go to the bauddhic plane or the causal plane or the bauddhic plane or the atmic plane or the anupadik plane. You know, they will not go to the lower planes at all. That is their residence. Once you are also able to do, all of us are capable at some point to be able to do astral travel and galactic travel, you know, through our pineal glands. So whoever is capable of doing those travels, they just go and know, and they see, okay, the plane on which Ramana is living, you know, this is a higher plane far beyond the atmic plane also, you know. So all those who are able to, Shri Anil Sharma, who is the author of this book, from where we have taken this content, he is able to go to these planes as a part of his galactic travel, and he has been with different sages on different planes. You know, so is Dr. Pillai being. You know, so all these are evolved beings who are capable of these kinds of astral travels and galactic travels, and then they can be on the plane with that entity on his higher plane. Now, technically, what does the word ego mean? Okay, technically, the word ego means, though I will not use this technical in future, but you should know what the ego means. Ego is your top three planes: Atmic, Bauddhic, and upper mental. These top three planes is your ego, because that is your personal self, your personal higher self. That is why, if you see, you will get confused sometimes, but there are people who also the say that Jivatman means the ego, you know, and one always gets confused that no, Jivatman must be the Purusha, you know, and Purusha is actually monadic. But some people also say that Jivatman is the ego, but what do they mean by the ego? They mean the Atmic, the Bauddhic, and the upper mental, you know. Now, what is the entire process of this human life? The entire process of this human life is when ego accesses its supreme self and its latent abilities through the lower planes. This is how Adam and Eve were born, in perfect divine image of God. So Adam and Eve were told, you don't eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge, if you're aware of the story. Okay. So if you don't eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge, until they ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, they were unself-conscious. They were made in the image of God. They were as good as God. Okay. So their egoic self was what they were. Their higher three bodies, their higher nature is all they were. You know, the moment they ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, okay, we also use the word gnanam bandha. In the last seminar, we covered this topic, how depth and knowledge and everything is a trap, you know. So the moment they ate from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, which is, in simple words, the tree of good and evil, the moment you divide existence as good and bad, human beings as good and bad, events as good and bad, higher and lower, favorable and unfavorable, beneficial and harmful. The moment you create this duality, you are entering the tree of knowledge, and the ego is creating what is called a, you can see on the screen, personality.
Personality.
Okay, so personality now is the lower three bodies, which is the inversion of the higher three bodies. You understand? These lower three bodies is the inversion of the higher three bodies. The higher three bodies are Atmic, Bauddhic, upper mental. When they are inverted, upper mental becomes lower mental, which is lower thoughts. Bauddhic becomes lower feelings. And Atmic becomes the physical body, which is corrupted. because of all these thoughts, feelings, energies, activities. So that is your personality vehicle. So the idea is that, so now we'll understand what is called the life periods on all planes. Okay, now this is where your journey beyond your death begins. If you live in a way which is not noble, not spiritual, not good, you don't care for your fellow men, you don't care for your thoughts, you don't take responsibility for your feelings, you don't try to orient yourself spiritually, then what's going to happen is there is a great chance that a lot of the matter of your lower astral planes remains as it is or is consolidated. If there is too much matter, if there is too much activity in your lower astral body, which occupies the lower astral plane, then when you depart from here, you will have to spend a lot of time in the lower astral levels, which are the hell. And you don't want to do that for too long. But you can spend either hours over there or you can spend centuries over there. You want to minimize that thing from centuries to decades, from decades to years, from years to months, from months to weeks. If you can't do it in hours. Your life period on every plane. Now, so what happens is, beyond your regular life, once you are disembodied, let me give you this rude shock that nothing changes. Nothing absolutely changes. So it's not like now you're free of the body, so you're going to have a better life. There's nothing like that. It's just a continuation of what is right now. Yes, Nitin?
So if you see a shadow sometimes and you feel you've seen something,
Yeah.
it usually has a physicalish form, but it's not there, right?
Yeah.
That's because, so then it makes sense now because you basically died with your body, but
Yeah.
it's not there. That's it.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then in that space, everybody is how they died or whatever form they
Yeah.
had.
Yeah. So
Oh.
now what happens is, now the process that begins is called reconditioning. Okay, between two lifetimes. So
Mm.
what happens is, you were given some. So let me start from the start. Okay, you have a whole reservoir of karma called sanchit. From the sanchit karma, you took on one installment of karma for this lifetime, which is called prarabdha. While you were living out your prarabdha, you were creating fresh karma, which is called kriyamana karma. Okay. Now, what is left is sanchit minus prarabdha plus kriyamana. Okay. That is the karma which is left. Now, this karma, sanchit minus prarabdha plus kriyamana, one installment of that will be spent on your astral plane, and your karma will be reconditioned. You will on the astral plane, you will, like, say you died without owning, let us say you wanted to own a BMW, but you died without owning a BMW. Okay, now on the astral plane, through imagination, you will have a BMW also. Astral plane is not necessarily bad. The upper four levels are better levels. So you will have a BMW at the level of your imagination. You know, and through imagination you will complete the desire of your BMW. So you are reconditioned in a certain sense before your next incarnation. You know, if you have too much activity in your lower astral plane, you will go through all that karmic matter in the lower astral planes. You will suffer for whatever time you have to suffer. Then you will move on to the higher astral planes, where you will fulfill your desires for whatever time you have to fulfill your desire. Then you will spend some period beyond in your lower mental plane, where you will be living out all your lower thoughts. And then in your higher mental plane, if you are lucky enough, you have had selfless time, selfless deeds, you have had selfless desires. Those are taken care of over there. and then from the upper mental body another spark is going to reincarnate, as we saw again, so there is that entire reconditioning period actually of 700 odd years, you know between two lifetimes, as per one school of thought, that 700 odd years the soul is not taking another birth, it is just getting reconditioned. Imagine this lifetime is 70 years and that is 700 years. You want it right, you don't want it wrong, you know before you have the other opportunity, next opportunity of a human birth, you know and then obviously there's a school of thought that says 84 lakh koti, 84 lakh rounds before the human body, you know so that is another cosmology, you can say. But this is the cosmology we are discussing from theosophy, anthroposophy, that 700 odd years between two lifetimes where all the reconditioning is happening depending on the amount of karmic stuff that is available in your respective bodies. That is your life period on the respective plane. Now, there is an involution and there is a revolution. What is the involution? What does the word involution mean? What has happened is the ego took on the personality. So the higher bodies took on the lower bodies, so the involution is when it is like a descent, when you are coming from the higher bodies and you are living in the lower bodies in a lower way with lower feelings, lower thoughts. You are a fallen angel in a certain sense, and then you spiritually grow from there, and then all your lower bodies, you convert while you are living. You do so much bhakti, you do so much seva, you do so much swadhyaya, that you convert, you can have the lower bodies then only become. What is the difference between your lower body and Ramana's lower body? Or a Mahavir's lower body?
They did not inhabit those lower bodies, whereas we are inhabiting and identifying with our lower bodies.
So identifying, I'll agree, not inhabiting, because they also have to inhabit the lower bodies. See, if they have to have a physical body, do physical actions, have natural feelings, have natural thoughts, they will also have to inhabit the lower bodies, but they
So,
wouldn't be identified with it.
so you have like a permanent address, which is your body, and then how much time you spend there, something like that.
Elaborate.
Like if all of us need to inhabit the body, so that's like your permanent address.
Right,
Whether you stay there or not
right.
depends on which plane you are at or which part of evolution you are at. Something
Okay,
like that.
okay.
You have to have a address, but you have to be in the physicals at some level. You have to be physical,
Correct. Everybody has to
but you
inhabit.
don't have to live in your house.
Correct. Yes, Komal. You are right. I'll elaborate that. Yes, Komal.
They are able to detach from their physical body in terms of feelings.
Right. Okay. So what happens is, the difference is that they, first of all, they inhabit the upper bodies and the lower bodies both, but they don't have as much matter or as much activity in the lower bodies, like we have, you know. That is one part of it. Okay. The second part of it is, whatever they have, they don't identify with it, you know. So for them, for us, the lower bodies are our preoccupation. For them, the lower bodies are their vehicles. You understand the difference? Preoccupation versus vehicle. For us, they are our residences. For them, they are simply vehicles. Vehicles through which they can express their higher side. See, you can use the human body for serving somebody destitute, okay, or you can use a human body for daily sex, or you can use the human body for daily gluttony, so even they use the human body, but they use the human body only as a vehicle, not as their primary habitation, you know for us, it is almost the primary habitation, our means of engagement, our preoccupation. So for them, it is just a vehicle. Are you clear?
Yeah.
The difference between us and sages in terms of the lower bodies. Okay. So, what is the process of evolution? The process of evolution is to express ourselves through the lower bodies instead of being preoccupied in the lower bodies. So, having a beautiful, noble thought, having a beautiful, noble feeling, doing a beautiful, noble activity, that is evolution. You know, doing a self centered activity, that is involution. Get it? Doing a self-centered, having a self-focused feeling, you know, doing a self-centered activity, having a selfish thought, that is involution. So that is how, like, we were born in the image of God, then we involute, and then we kind of become like devils, and then we evolve, and then we again will kind of become like sages and again become like God. That is that entire circle, involution and evolution. The whole spiritual process is about conscious evolution from the typical animalistic involution.
So
Are
could,
we?
could gluttony be involution and say painting
Definitely,
be evolution? Painting to express yourself or
absolutely,
something like okay. So
absolutely,
music, paint, anything like that.
absolutely, yeah. Now there is a development of every body also. So, like, it's like where your individual life force is at. Through a lot of sadhana, your individual life force could actually start inhabiting, your upper mental body. Then you are highly free, you know, or your bauddhic body or your atmic body. Then you are sufficiently free. That is the development of your bodies, you know. So wherever your individual life force is, that is how developed you are. If your individual life force is stuck in the physical body or stuck in the lower astral body, you are just out there and you are busy clubbing away, or you are busy just gluttoning or being a couch potato, or you are busy simply having resentful feelings, or feelings of actual hatred. See, yeah, so many world leaders also, you will see they are so preoccupied in the lower bodies. They are that's how they can be. That is why they are masters of war and masters of destruction. And I have never seen a picture of Putin with a smile. you know I don't want to put him down, or I don't want to judge him, but I'm just trying to illustrate that how some people are, and they are actually quite comfortable in their lower bodies. you know Many of us will become very uncomfortable in our lower bodies and will try to evolve, try to shake ourselves out of it, because we are originally from the higher bodies. you know. But we have karma from the lower bodies to cover. Yes, Nitin.
Is being playful and naughty
Higher
the
bodies.
lower body or the
Higher body.
higher
Higher body.
body?
Naughty without concern for others is a lower body thing.
No, no, no. Just
Yeah,
like say a prank,
generally.
without hurting anybody, but just
Generally.
being
Definitely.
playful.
Generally higher nature. Yeah.
Higher nature.
Higher nature.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Now remember, a plane is not a place, but it is a vibration. Okay? Any plane, it is not a place. It is a vibration. So vibration is always, if you are aware, is always expressed in terms of something per second, number of oscillations per second. Any frequency is always expressed, number of revolutions per second. Always, if you are an engineer, you would know that all frequency, all vibration is always. So vibration is more a function of time than a function of place. So all your planes are not physical places. So your astral plane, your etheric plane, your mental plane, it is all here. It is all here. In a certain sense, all here around you on the physical plane. But it is a different vibration which you can't tune into. Like, a bat can see differently than you, right? Because a bat has a different kind of vibration it comes from. Its eyes operate from a different vibration. There are certain animals that can see far more than you. So we can only see what is available in our frequency range, our vibration range. Okay. So all these planes are vibratory fields. Physical is the densest. Then a little subtle is etheric. More subtle is astral. Yet subtle is thought, mental. Yet more subtle is bauddhic. Yet more subtle is atmic. Yet more subtle is anupadik. That's where it completes, because Adi is God himself. You know. So these are finer and finer vibrations, higher and higher frequencies. You know, lower and lower frequencies. The lowest vibration rate, in a certain sense, the densest vibration rate will always be on the physical level. You know, that's why reversing a disease takes a real long time, because the physical low vibratory energy is very, very low. You know, the vibratory energy is very high at the higher planes. So clearing up your astral, clearing up your mental and all may not be that difficult as clearing up the physical is. You know, because anything which is denser is going to take longer time. That is why the manifestations also at the physical level take longer time. You know, it's possible for you to change your thought and feeling about something, but for you to change as a person in terms of your actions towards somebody is going to take lower time. So all these planes are not places; they are vibratory arenas. You know? And you can travel across planes, but there is a law over here. The law is, if somebody has reached, let us say, the upper mental plane, their dominant life force is in the upper mental plane, he can very easily visit the lower planes. He gets a gate pass for all the lower planes. But if somebody is in the higher astral plane, he will not be allowed to go to the upper mental plane. You know why?
The first class guy can go to the economy guy can
Correct.
first class.
Correct.
Simple.
As simple as that. Why? Because see, if some lower spirit goes and occupies a higher place, it will corrupt the place. So that it is not a two-way thing, it is a one-way thing. So the one way from the upper to the lower is always allowed, but the way from lower to upper is not allowed. So if your dominant life force is somewhere in the upper astral levels, you are free to roam the lower astral levels, but you are not free to roam the lower mental levels. Are we clear?
So, also like sometimes you see some powerful people, they get scared of very simple people
Yeah,
sometimes. So I'm just assuming that they're at a higher plane and this guy's at a lower plane.
yeah,
So while the person at the higher plane never feels threatened by the guy at the lower plane,
yeah.
the guy at the lower plane always feels threatened by the guy at the higher plane. So
Higher plane. Yeah,
discomfort, he might not even know what it is.
yeah.
Is that sort of real? What I'm saying?
See, what happens, at least in this case, is that you don't want the higher planes to be corrupt by the energies of the lower planes. It's as simple as that. That's it.
Mhm.
You know. So the people in the lower plane will not be allowed. So while you are, after your death, while you are occupying the lower astral, let us say, you will not be able to go to upper astral. Once the reconditioning at the lower astral is over, then you can be in the upper astral and do the reconditioning there. Then you can be in the lower mental and do the reconditioning there. Then when you are in lower mental, you are allowed to go to upper astral just for a visit, or a lower astral just for a visit and come back. That is how traveling across the planes happen. Now, a lot of these people, unfortunately, the self-styled coaches and self-styled gurus, they teach astral travel. Okay, this astral travel is a very tricky affair, you know, because astral plane, the lower three astral planes, suppose you end up traveling, you are damaged for life. It is full of pretas, you know, it is full of Lucifers. You're damaged for life if you do an astral travel. You just join some coach and join his workshop and he teaches you astral travel. So there's no reason for anybody to do any of these travels. There's too much risk involved, you know. Yes, sir.
If you
Bhavan sir,
can,
what's the difference between a preta and a pishacha?
I wouldn't know that. Yeah. So, but they both of them are, the only thing I know is that they will fall under the common category of lower
Lower
planes.
beings.
Yeah, yeah. So, this interplane travel has its own rules. For you also, once you are beyond this body. Okay, now this is the most significant part of today's session. The entire architecture was explained so that you understand one, what is hell and heaven in reality, two, there is life beyond your death, three, you want to have a better life beyond your death. You know, now that is why this entire architecture was explained. Now you can have this better life beyond your death if you apply what is called the law of net advance. Okay, what is the law of net advance? The law of net advance is, even if you do 10% good activities and 90% neutral or self-centered activities, okay, still you will advance, still you will clear up your lower astral planes, still you will create lesser baggage in your lower astral and lower mental planes, still you can have a lesser duration in your lower astral and lower mental planes, which is what one of the purposes of your life is, to maximize the way you don't want to suffer in your old age, which is only 7 years maybe. You definitely don't want to suffer in the 700 years between two lifetimes. In order not to suffer in that, you've got to practice the law of net advance. The law of net advance is 10% good activities and 90% neutral or self-centered activities. I am assuming that whoever is on this call is never by default going to do malicious things. So we are not discussing malicious activities at all. You do neutral or self-centered activities most of the time. 90% is okay, but 10% noble activities. And noble means good for the other person, selfless one. Second, it doesn't have to be necessarily selfless. Like at some point there was an energy exchange involved in WLT. One might say that is selfless or not selfless. So I would say that, well, I was respecting the law of energy exchange because there is karma related to it, if I take or don't take. So, but then even if there was a price to it, my larger dimension was to be of use. The price was always far lesser than what it was worth. So even if you are exchanging energy, even if you are pricing your product, but still if your basic context is to serve, then the law of net advance is in your favor. Selflessness doesn't have to necessarily mean no monetary thing at all. It is about your original basic context. Is the context to serve or is the context to grab? Is the context to extract? If the context is to serve, and even if there are exchanges involved, still you are progressing on the law of net advance. And they go to the extent of telling that even if you do 1% against 99% neutral, you do 1%, then also there is a net advance. But you can at least target 10%. What does it involve? One is selfless, another is spiritual. So when you say spiritual, it just involves things like bhakti, it involves aspects like swadhyay, it involves introspection, your shravan, manana, nididhyasana, So it involves your listening to good thoughts, your reading good thoughts, your being with good people, your thinking in terms of your Atman, your Jnana Yoga, your Bhakti Yoga, your Seva, your Karma Yoga, all of this. It is through this that you progress in the law of net advance so that you minimize your reconditioning period in the hell or in the lower mental planes. You maximize your reconditioning period in the higher mental planes. And with every human incarnation, you progress towards a thorough stabilization in your ego or your higher three bodies. This is the entire architecture behind spirituality. You understand this?
But I mean, everything is tilted in your favor. You just have to lead this life well, and the rest is all sorted. It's
Correct.
It's a fantastic trade-off.
Correct.
When so small, you do 30 years left and you live for 700 years well.
Correct.
Now you're asking for nothing basically.
Correct. 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 Absolutely. So, never feel disheartened.
Mm.
See, always be focused about, see, never be disheartened if you are not making enough money now, or you don't have a stable relationship, or, your health is generally acting up. Never be disheartened. The only thing that you got to be thinking is, where am I in God's books? You know, that's the only thing. If you are in God's good books, and what is God? God is nothing. We'll come to that. God is nothing but your own inner conscience. So when you are in your inner conscience, you are safe, you are pure, you are more or less without compunctions over there. So you are in net books. You are net good, net positive in God's books. That net positive is all you should look for. You may, obviously, you are here to sort out your current life, because if your current life is without relationships or wealth, it is paining you, so we do what we do to sort it out. But more importantly, where do you fare in terms of the net advance? Where do you fare in God's books? That is very, very, very important. You need to have that large picture view, that big picture view. You can't afford to have a small picture view of this small life or small incarnation. Yes, Nitin.
So this net advance is really completely different. It's
Right.
assumes that you're going to do some bad also. Like for
Yeah,
example,
events. You're
when I
going through bad events. You're going through bad events, but you are converting them into neutral or noble episodes.
one is if I do good work. Suppose I have to extract something,
Yeah,
a pay whatever something I'm extracting, and let's say the price of that extraction is say 1,000 rupees,
yeah,
and that's what the person expects also.
yeah,
Suppose without asking, I pay more.
yeah. You are in a net advance.
I'm in net advance, right?
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. So
So
that
you
net
basically
advance,
beating their expectation itself puts you in a net advance,
absolutely
even though the act might be an act of extraction.
correct.
Hmm.
Correct. Yes. That extraction is not extraction. When I use the word extraction, I basically mean it is a net negative. The what you are
Okay.
using in net extraction is not extraction. It is interdependence.
Okay. No, I'm thinking of
Interdependence.
these. You know how you have labor in tea estates, but they create the entire ecosystem for them. So
Yeah.
in a way, they're happier there versus say slavery, which was
Correct. Correct.
completely extraction, no rights
Correct.
whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Correct. What Amazon is known to do to his employees, it's extraction. Whatever is the typically known, we don't know, but whatever
Hmm.
is typically known. So not caring at all for the workforce, that is extraction. But generally speaking, when you take a service or something, it is interdependence. Interdependence is the base of life. Interdependence is what is the barter that we are all living in, right? We are good at something, somebody else is good at something, so we keep money is the medium through which interdependence happens. But when the context is to prosper the other person, prosper the vendor, then it is a net advance. That's the whole thing. So the net advances can be created in many ways, but this net advance is extremely important. Without the net advance, you are setting yourself up for a tragic afterlife, and you don't want that. And this nobody will tell you. Only the spiritual teacher will tell you this. Otherwise, nobody will tell you. And nobody will give you this entire architecture. This entire architecture is extremely fundamental. you know. If you don't know this architecture, you don't know what is the meaning of hell and heaven. You don't know where you're going to end up being. You don't know how the reconditioning happens. You don't know the relative lifespans. Then it is all just, it is all at a certain level, you know that, okay, doing good will help and doing bad will backfire. But when you have this entire architecture, your eyes are far more open. You know? You agree? Yeah, right. So now I'm going to come on to the Jnana Yoga, or to the enlightenment aspect of this session. Okay, because it is interrelated. What is it? See, uh, the most important thing, okay, that all of us take for granted, and don't pay attention to, and this is going to be a long journey. This point is just the starting point, uh, as long as it interests me and it interests you. If God willing, we may have multiple sessions on this, upwards of a dozen. This is just a small point. So what is the view? What is the world? Okay, what is this world? This world that is in front of you is actually just a view. Okay, now I'm making, until here we were spiritual with the law of net advance. Now we are going transcendental. Okay, we are going super spiritual now. Okay, what is this world? The world that you see in front of you, Nihar, when you think of Zokatos, it is just a view. Okay, it is something that appears. This company Zokatos appears, appears in front of you. Or if Ranjita thinks in terms of the London Bridge, right? What is it?
London Bridge Center.
London Bridge Center. Okay, so that is a part of your world. But what is it? It is just a view. It is just an image on a screen. You know. So whoever you see, whatever you are thinking in terms of, whatever you're seeing right now. Okay, right now, see, you look in front of you is what? Your laptop or your mobile or your computer, and my face, and maybe there is a wall, and then maybe there is a fan, and maybe there is some sunmica somewhere, and some veneer somewhere, and some handle somewhere. What is it? It is your world, right? And at the same time, it is your view, right? Your view is always your world.
But that's the physical aspect of it.
Correct. The physical aspect only I'm talking. When I use the word world, I mean the physical world. So the view and even the mental aspect of it. Okay, let us say it is not this. You are thinking in terms of the astral plane. What is it? It is a view on your astral body. Thinking in terms of the astral plane, or thinking or feeling something, let us say. That feeling is a view on your astral body, or a thought is a view on your mental body. Everything is actually just something that you are perceiving, feeling, experiencing. It is an image on the screen. But for now, let us take the physical view, let us keep it simple. So, how is a physical view created? I want to share with you. Okay. See, what was the property of Atmic plane, you remember? You can look into your notes if you want to. What was the chief property of the Atmic plane?
Will?
Dispassionately
Divine
watching.
Will.
Yeah, the divine will. Okay. The divine will is the property. Your will comes from your Atma. Okay. The will is the most primary thing. After the will comes intuition at the Bauddhic level. Okay. Now, how is this view ever created? When your divine will, see, how is every view, is there any effort involved in a view? You are seeing the screen, you are seeing me, you are seeing a door or whatever you're seeing. Is there any effort involved in it?
No.
Okay, so when in any time when there's no effort, what is the terminology? It is observed intuitively, right? Anything that happens effortlessly is intuitive. So the view is always observed intuitively. After the view, all the Gotala happens. That, oh, what this Sanmaika, it has become so bad, my goodness. Why did I choose this color of the Sanmaika? I better change this Sanmaika. So the moment I say, why did I choose this brown Sanmaika, that's a lower thought. I feel bad with this brown Sanmaika. My entire room appears to be so gloomy. That is my lower astral. You know, now I need to do something and I need to change this Sanmaika. That's my lower activity. It is not watching or it is not pure watching or pure knowing. It's a lower activity. So now I'm caught up in all my lower natures, but all of that is after the view. Yes or no?
So,
Hmm.
so
Until
Correct.
the view,
So first the unbiased view, and then our biases set in.
correct. Absolutely.
so it's
So
it's
the unbiased
wrong.
view is created by your divine will acting upon your divine intuition. Your divine will acts upon your divine intuition and it gives you an unbiased view.
So your will is the raw material for intuition.
Your will is where
So
it
what
begins.
you do with your will and what you do will also give you intuitive things. Now, if you are doing negative things, you will only be negatively intuited. If you do positive things, you'll be
No, intuition is not negative. Intuition can never be negative. Intuition
no.
is
I mean,
basic plane. It is always positive. Intuition is just a function. The effortless observation is intuition in this case. So
but
your divine will, your atmic body, working on your bauddhic body gives the view. See why the bauddhic body? Because it is intuitive. The perception is intuitive. You don't think about it and think and look. It is intuitive. That's why your bauddhic body is involved. And some action took because of some intention. That is where your divine will came in. So your basic intention meets your basic intuition, and the view is cast in front of you. Now, on the view, you do all types of projections. That's where your lower nature comes in. But until the view, it is always your higher nature. See, you think Ranjita thinks in terms of London Bridge or Nihar thinks in terms of Zocatos. Just thinking about the company, just one London Bridge and one Zocatos, until there it is just the view. Divine will acting upon divine intuition. But the moment you say that, oh, London Bridge is doing so well, in this October is awesome for London Bridge. So now the lower nature, which is like desires and thoughts in the mental plane, feeling of the astral plane, all of that got attached. Okay. In normal Buddhic terminology or Jain terminology, Raga and Dvesha came in. Raga and Dvesha started craving and aversion in terms of vipassana. Okay. Craving and aversion began after the view. Now, how to always stay in your higher nature in terms of everything we discussed?
use your will for positive stuff.
No, 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 no.
Hmm.
That is for net advance.
Okay.
Using your will for positive stuff is for a net advance. This is beyond the net advance also. This is in the present moment, you want to remain unaffected. How will you be?
View, but don't take sides on the view that this is good, this is bad.
Right. Right. Oh, yes.
Just remain with the view. Remain in the action of viewing.
Right. Beautiful.
Don't divide it into it's a
Right.
great month or it's a bad month.
Right.
Or this is a bad person, that's a good.
Right. Right. That is one way to do it. Yes. That is the way to do it. But let us say it is one way to do it. Yes, Komal?
Be aware when you are in that moment of not judging it
Right.
and do it again and again.
Right. So stay above judging and repeat that. That's
Hmm.
what you're telling. Right. Okay. Now, all that I am telling is something very, very different. Okay. What I am telling is it is through the view that your higher bodies are available. Your higher nature is available to you. You know, your higher nature is the view in this moment. You know, isn't the view always available?
Hmm.
So, isn't the higher nature always available? Your higher nature is always every moment available in the form of the physical view in front of you while you're away.
And we make it complex.
Correct.
Is this mindfulness that you're talking
Not at
about,
all, not
Bhaavin,
at
sir?
all, not at all. Mindfulness and all comes way later.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfulness comes way later. Mindfulness is to be mindful of the breath and all. That is all. None of it is an intuitive process. All of that is an effortful purushartha. This is an intuitive perception of the view in every moment, which means it is an intuitive availability of your higher nature every moment. If you can just be in the view consciousness, can you just be in the view consciousness instead of the projection consciousness?
The Avalokiteshvara, the one who just views.
Right. Matra avalokan, only the avalokan is happening all the time. So, but the beauty is you will slip and you will go into the lower nature and you will project and you will judge and you will think and you will feel and all of that. But the beauty is that the view is available. So the higher nature is available. In every single moment, you are actually in your higher nature, and then from there slipping into the lower nature. You are always starting out in the higher nature with the view, and then slipping into the lower nature. But the primary thing is the higher nature. You cannot slip into the lower nature without starting from your higher nature. So, what if you were to become far more conscious of the view than of the projection on the view? What if you could tell yourself during a bad patch that, hey, the view is the higher nature available right now, let me just stay at that. See, in every moment you have the opportunity to view. The view is only the top two bodies. Divine will working on divine intuition, that is it. The mental has not yet come in, the feeling has not yet come in, the activity has not yet come in. The lower bodies. So every time you slip, you just move back to the upper two bodies. That hey, this view is all that matters. My projection of the view is my story. My projection on the view is my story. If I say that this Sanmaika is brown and brown makes me gloomy, that is my story. But God's story was this Sanmaika in front of me, that's it. He stopped at that. Then, when the angel fell from grace, he brought the thought and he brought the feeling and he brought the activity. This is what it is made. You are made in the image of God, and then you screw it up. You live in the image of the devil afterwards.
That's why they say the devil is in the details.
Good
right?
one. Good one. The devil
When
is
we
the
get into the
details.
details,
Yeah.
we get into it's devil's work.
Very good connection. Yeah. When the detail of the thought, the feeling, the action comes in, that's where the devil will come in. Until the view, the higher nature is constantly operational. See, what I want to drill in your head is you are constantly in your higher nature every moment you see because the view is available.
So you can reset so fast over here,
Yeah.
and it's stupid to not use it. And then the longer you take to
Yeah.
reset,
Yeah.
it's that much more time to clear. Like if you go to another level after
Right.
death,
Right.
you can like basically stitch in time saves 9,
Right.
and
Right.
it's very easy to reset over here.
Right.
Only thing you need to do is be conscious of what you're doing.
Right.
Okay.
That's it. Just be conscious about it. Let's come back to the view.
Yeah.
Come back to the view. That's it.
Mhm.
You know, he told me this. Okay, somebody calls me stupid, let us say. He calling me stupid is a part of the view. But oh, I'm semi-stupid. I must be stupid. So sad I am so stupid even at this age. So sad he considers me stupid. What if somebody else also considers me stupid? This is all beyond the view that you began.
Once you know this is very, and if you're still angry or upset about something, then you're
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah,
This is the key resource.
yeah. The view is always available.
Right.
Blank fact is always available. The blank fact is just the divine will working on divine intuition in every moment. Only the operation of the two higher bodies is naturally of every moment there. In fact, it is also there when you are engaged in your lower bodies, because that is where it began from. That is how close God is to you. See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it obvious how close God is to you. The pure view is always available. The plain fact is your pure view. So either the physical view or the mental or feeling or whatever, the plain fact is the pure view. You being aware of the plain fact is the pure view. In every single moment, it is available, and it is God, because it is the operation of your two higher bodies. Your two higher bodies are rooted in God. Atmic and Bodhic are rooted in God. They are rooted in Anupadik. The inversion has not yet begun. The lower bodies are only after the inversion begins. So until the upper mental body, everything is pure. Then the inversion into lower mental and astral and physical. The inversion has not yet begun when the view watching the view. Only the upper divine will acted on divine intuition view is available. It is not yet biased. This unbiased view in front of you is God. Is the blank canvas without the corruption of thoughts, feelings, and activities, which start after that. So God in every single moment is available, provided you don't slip from Him. Are we together? Yeah. So this is basically essentially the difference between your higher and your lower nature. So last 5 minutes, either I can use this 5 minutes. Okay, yeah. So these are your exercises now. You got to be aware of your higher nature, be detached from your lower nature, and use the law of net advance. These are the three exercises you got to consciously do until the next session. How will you be aware of your higher nature? Through the view. Your view is your top two bodies functioning. You can choose to stop at the view. How will you be detached from your nature? By being aware of your higher nature, by attaching yourself to your higher nature, to detach from your lower nature. And you use the law of net advance so that you have a better afterlife. Are we together on this? Yeah. So this by and large completes. Now either the next 3 minutes can be dedicated to your questions and reflections, or I can do a recap. What would you prefer?
Q&A.
Huh?
Q&A.
Okay, okay, okay.
Because this session, I would obviously go through the entire video recording again.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
everybody should.
Yeah.
Everybody should definitely revisit the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, you have any questions, or
Hmm.
if you want it to be a Q&A?
I was hoping somebody would ask a question.
See, anybody not coming up with a question, that means you are in your higher nature while you don't come up with a question, you know. With the question, we'll begin the no lower nature.
Yeah, we're enjoying the view right now.
Yeah, just enjoying the view and the space between the views. Yeah.
There's so much to absorb today, then.
Yeah, there's a lot to absorb. You definitely. How many of you are committed to revisit the session? Yeah,
I to miss quite a lot of it.
right. Yeah. So this is very important. See, until our architecture is clear to us, all language is vague language.
No, but
Once architecture is clear, then all language is specific. Then we are talking specifics now, you know. Next time we are discussing feelings, we are discussing the activity happening in one of the astral planes. Now we are far more specific. You know. Next time we are discussing will or willpower or intention. We are discussing the activity that is happening at the level of your atmic plane, your atmic body in the atmic plane. You know. We are that much more specific. You know. This is how specific all our rishis were, all our sages were. Unless you understand this five body or the seven body structure, you can't understand higher self and lower self, and you can't tune into higher self and lower self.
hmm. I think each of us just write it in a way which makes sense to us. Like,
Right. Yes.
somebody might think in a table manner, somebody might think in a
Right.
diagrammic manner.
Sure.
So you have feeling, you have body part, and then you have plane.
Right.
So like it's as simple as that. And
Right.
I don't think it'll take. Like, though we started with something like definitions, we ended up with the larger idea.
Sure.
It makes sense. Like when we were taught in school, you only taught
Sure.
definition, like,
Sure.
and then you don't understand anything.
Right.
Now, since you in the same session we finished
Right.
the higher idea, it's easier when you go back. It won't be so difficult either.
Correct. And when you read those pages 20 to 34 in the book, it'll be easier. You know? Ranjita just showed the book, she got a copy. So those who have not got the copy, you get your copy if you want to do a deep dive. You know, for whoever wants to do a deep dive, you also do through the book. Yeah? Otherwise, I am simplifying it all for you. And we are only going to cover some aspects of the book, not the entire book. Yeah. Okay, then let us do a prayer and then let us call it a day. Om Asadoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya Om Shanti Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. So we'll post the recording on the group, and don't take too long to revisit because you never know when I'll do the next session. You would have wanted to complete your revisit before that. I may do 3 sessions in a month and then not do a session at all for a month. We have no idea. So from your side, you just keep yourself up to date as quickly as possible. And do the 3 exercises. Jai Gurudev. Okay, have a great night.
Thank you, Bhaavin. Bye. Good night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Bhaavin, sir.
Bye, Anta.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.